Jaques Station is an otherwise ordinary station that originated from the bubble. Owned by a cyborg of the same name, it is equipped with engines that can afford the otherwise unusual jump ranges. In this episode, I will be exploring the events that surrounds the disappearance of this station and its subsequent reappearance. Jax is an augmented human or cyborg. His background was of the military, where he served for a federal Black Ops team called Quintentis 14s. He's rumoured to be centuries old. At some point between the 3200s and the 3300s, Jax acquired a Coriolis starport called Peter's Base in Facisi. For a period of time, Jax worked in the station's bar. As a barman, quietly living out his unusual lifespan in the peace and civility of a local pub. Jax for many years had ambitions for the station and had stated to friends and associates that he had dreams of installing engines on the station for a purpose of exploration. As to the unsuitable design of the Coriolis, he eventually swapped Peter's Station for an Orbis starport and named this starport after himself. During a period of 40 years after he acquired this Orbis station, Jax disappeared into the black for an unknown exploration mission. I'll add this: many people think that Raxlar is in the core systems because humanity could not reach far-flung places in the cosmos. I believe this to be incorrect. Although the public jump ranges of ships in the past was in fact limited, this does not mean that there wasn't other vessels that could achieve higher jump ranges. Granted, although it would take decades to travel to some of the places that humanity had now achieved a foothold, it would not be impossible. Jax worked for the federal military, in fact the highest echelon of the federal military. Any secret technology in terms of FSD, Quirium drive or other unknown devices would be known to this individual. What Jax encountered on his journey is unknown, but as we have seen before on these early trips out into the black, things have been seen, no human or anything known. After a period of 40 years of exploration, Jax returned to the bubble and set up a community goal for acquiring hydrogen fuel for his now augmented station. After a massive effort by independent pilots, enough hydrogen was acquired and Jax now planned to jump into the unknown on board his Orbis station. Prior to the jump event, subversive members of humanity had smuggled Thargoid sensors on board the station with the intention of sabotaging this voyage, and on May 18, 3302, the jump off Jaques Station went ahead. It is unknown how these devices reacted with the station's drives, but the planned target of the jump was missed and Jaques Station disappeared into the black, thought to be destroyed. Normally, Thargoid sensors do not react in any way to the jump systems of a human vessel. They did, however, at one point in time cause havoc when brought aboard any station, so a jump error was probably caused by these sensors, but what is unusual is how they reacted with the station. On June 13th of the same year, several listening posts and civilian stations started to receive scrambled communications from an unknown source. Although the communications were too fragmented to be used to determine the origin point, there was enough information within these transmissions for analysts to determine the signals were coming from Jaques Station. After an immense effort by independent pilots, Commander Sly stumbled across the lost station in Echo Oscar Lima Papa Romeo Oscar Uniform Romeo Sierra Tango Delta 3-94. Damaged yet intact with light signs aboard. After a short period of time, Jax made the following statement in regards to the event. First, I'd like to thank all the pilots who came looking for me. As for what happened, well, I guess it was a little bit ambitious to jump all the way to Beagle Point. As soon as I entered Witch Space, it was clear something was up with the drive engines and the navigation system and the power distributor. Pretty soon I realised I had a choice: push onto Beagle Point and arrive as a cloud of shrapnel, or drop into the nearest safe system. I made the only choice I could, to push on. Then I came to my senses and decided to drop into Echo Oscar Lima Papa Romeo Oscar Uniform Romeo Sierra Tango Delta 3-94. After the jump systems of Jaques Station were severely damaged, with its drives, power distribution and navigation all requiring repair, damage incurred due to its interaction with the Thargoid sensors. An extensive effort to repair this station commenced, with independent pilots shuttling the various materials and components required for the completion of repairs. After repair and refitting works were completed, the station made it into the history books with the longest range jump of a human vessel in history, 21,890.11 light years, to the Colonia system. It is unknown how the station achieved this range, and it is proven that the range of the jump was not affected by the Thargoid sensors, as none were affecting it when it jumped to Colonia. Whatever Jax did to those drives merits further discussion. Also, what is of note is something I came across when entering the station. If you focus on the central spire of the station, you will notice strange signals emitted from its centre. Upon further inspection in Audacity, you will notice this. Although I cannot determine the meaning of these symbols, there may be something hidden within the sound design of the station. Further inspection is merited. Today, Jaques Station serves as a focal point for colonisation efforts within the Colonia sector. To this day, Jax works behind the bar, serving various patrons of this station, telling tales of mystery and intrigue. With the Odyssey update and the probable inclusion of a bar with space legs, to have a chat with this individual would sate my curiosity of this event. One last point that I wish to touch upon is Jax augmentations. As I have discussed in the Guardian AI video, the possible connection between the Federation and the Guardian X civilization could be an actuality. As the Federation has an otherwise unusual monopoly on robotic and cybernetic technologies, the inclusion in this story that Jax is a cyborg could be a clue as to what exactly happened to him, either when he went exploring on his own or initiated the jump to Beagle Point. If there is some remnant of either the Guardian AI or those of the Guardian civilization that chose to implant their minds in the machine code of their technology, then what effect would the interactions have on the human brain when augmented? Although no operating facility in connection with these AI arcologies has ever been found, would the Guardian AI or its eventual servants even need a hardwired computer as we understand it today? After all, the Guardian race is millions of years old, and their technology would now at least reflect this age, if they still existed. Upon one of my late night podcast binges, I stumbled upon something called the Matryoshka brain. A Matryoshka brain, or Jupiter brain, is a hypothetical megastructure supposed by Robert J. Bradbury, based on the Dyson sphere, of immense computational capacity. It is an example of a Class B stellar engine, employing the entire energy of a star to drive computer systems. If such an object were to exist, then all light from said star would be consumed, making it impossible to detect through visual methods. Could Jax have information, or at one point in time had an encounter with such a monolithic structure that gave him the drive to venture out beyond the core systems? Thanks for the watch. Please make sure you hit the like button, and if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I will be appearing on the Elite Week podcast this Friday at 8 PM Eastern. Come along and listen. The show is a great source of news and happenings within the Elite universe. Super excited to reappear. If you would like further news on this channel, please make sure to follow me on Twitter and Reddit. Cheers.